Well, good morning. Good morning,
Hey, good
Kadeem.
morning.
Tell me where are you dialing in from right now? You said you're on your lunch break from school. What school do you teach at?
Yeah, so I teach at Southwest DeKalb High School.
Hmm.
It's a school in Decatur. It's actually a high school. So uh, a lot of the teachers that taught me are still here. The head band director was my band director when I was in school.
Oh,
So
amazing.
it's super interesting just to work with him again. Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool to see it come full circle and to be giving back to the same community that you were brought up in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And did you start on tuba or what was your first instrument?
So I started on trumpet actually.
Okay.
And then when I was in middle school, I think we had like 17 trumpets.
Oh,
And yeah, it was like everyone wanted to either play trumpet or snare drum.
oh,
And
wow.
the teacher was like, "Yeah, we can't do this. Somebody gotta switch."
Yeah.
And I didn't mind. I was like, "I'll switch." Like I thought it was interesting to learn how to play two instruments anyway.
Hmm.
And then in my head, I was going to go back to trumpet, but then like I started getting really good on tuba.
Hmm.
And I was like, I think I'll stay here. So so I
Yeah.
stayed.
Mm. Well, I mean, clearly it's paid off. It's
Yeah.
so cool to see your sousaphone too. Um,
Yeah.
do you own that?
So I'm actually a sponsored regional artist for Eastman.
Oh,
Um
cool.
and so
Hmm.
they sent me a sousaphone and they also sent me a C tuba.
Oh,
So
okay.
I perform and do concerts with those instruments.
Hmm.
Of course, with Eastman's blessings.
Hmm.
And I mean, I love the instruments. They play great.
Mm.
So no complaints in that department.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful instrument to just look at too. That sousaphone. It's like, oh
Yeah.
man. Woo.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Gosh. And so um speak a little bit if you don't mind just about your journey and about, what after you grew up there and tell us a little bit more about your journey and where how you've come to where you are now.
Okay. So of course in high school, like I said, I started getting really good on tuba. And I was always kind of competitive. Um, just because I never believed in like joining something and then just kind of like not giving my best effort.
Mm,
And so I knew I always wanted to give my best effort. And at the time, it was a lot of things going on in my personal life. And so for me, this was kind of like the outlet. It's like, okay,
mm,
well, I'm gonna spend a lot of time doing this
mhm,
because my home life isn't, as good as I would like it.
mm.
So I spent a lot of time on tuba. Um,
Yeah,
and yeah,
music was
it was
there.
my outlet. It
Hmm.
was my thing. It's like when all this is bad, I know music is the good.
Hmm.
Um, so I joined a lot of different groups. So I was in the Atlanta Twin Symphony.
Mm.
I've done all state for about 6 years. And then my senior year, I made the National Honor Band, and I was first chair. Um, and then
Congrats.
I went, yeah, thanks a lot.
Great. Yeah.
And then I went to Kennesaw to study music, and
Mm.
it was phenomenal. It was great. I mean, David Keeler, Bernard Flight were
Hmm.
all like really positive role models to kind of help me guide myself through the musical career. Because I think when it comes to the musical journey, a lot of times if you're not really a music teacher, then you
Mm.
kind of gotta create your own pathway or be open to do something else, like maybe a music supervisor or
Yep.
music like it has to bend.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. And so uh I tell my students that a lot of times these big opportunities come because of networking, because you're nice to somebody who remembers you.
Hmm.
And while I was in high school, there was a guy there who was the band booster president who was the tour manager for Outkast.
Oh, wow.
Um, and yeah, I didn't know that until like recently. Um,
Hmm.
crazy. So
Hmm.
uh, him and a couple of his investment buddies came up with this idea to basically have like this marching band
Mhm.
be a part of like a play. So it was called Drumline Live.
Mm.
Um,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, definitely.
and so uh, while I was in school, they recommended my name, and so I toured with Drumline Live, and I toured with them for years.
Wow.
Um, and the funny thing about that is, with doing Drumline Live, the CEO knew a producer who worked with Beyonce,
Mm.
and that's how we kind of got connected. And they flew us out for Coachella,
That's
and it was it was so crazy because
Mm.
when we got the invite, they didn't tell us who it was. They didn't tell us where we were going, or they told us New York. But then the day before, we got a plane ticket to LA, and so when I saw it, they wasn't answering the phone after they sent the ticket. There was no emails back. I had to
Mm.
call to verify that this ticket was even real. Um, yeah, it was super no
Sweet.
information.
Wow.
Like, hey, I need you to leave like tomorrow. And
Oh, jeez.
I was like, but I,
Mm.
I gotta get stuff. And yeah, I,
Right,
I
right.
got there. I got there, and it was an amazing experience. And I will say that you you think you know what hard work is until you see someone working hard, and it's like,
Mm.
wow, just the level of work that she put in, even with her kids there, her family there, and at the time she wasn't even eating meat.
Mm.
So like,
Mm.
and I love a good cheeseburger every now and then, or some chicken.
The
So it
good
was,
protein. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, some good protein, and it was she wasn't doing none of that. And so, and at the time, I don't think she had been on any kind of performances for a while because she had just had her babies. Uh, but to see like her effort, it was really it was inspiring. And I mean, it was a great experience, and I met a lot of
Mm.
amazing people. Uh, and then shortly after that, uh, I got paired up with the Hawks, and so
Yeah,
now I'm one of the instrumental directors for the Hawks.
that's
Um,
so amazing, man. That's so speak about that. Yeah, I mean, perfect segues too, because I was going to ask about your experiences with Beyonce and the
yeah,
Hawks. So this kind of all has intertwined in a way.
yeah. So the experience with Beyonce, I think was really influential to me as a musician now,
Mm.
because I think that when I was younger, I used to think that like the people got there because they had the best education, or they went to the best schools, or they went to the best this is this. But when I got there, that's when it really kind of hit me that like networking is a big thing, like being connected, like
Mm.
being nice
Hmm.
and not being like a jerk, like just kind of being a positive source of energy is a big thing, because that's the thing that's going to get you called back, because
Mm.
uh, anyone can be talented,
Right,
but
right.
only certain people can have the heart, uh, and that's what she looked for. And I mean, she looked at every individual that got hired, like went on our social media pages, like it was
Wow.
background checks, and she had to pick each person to
Wow.
fit the mold of that group. And I mean, it's people I still talk to this day,
Hmm.
that I performed with, and we're all great friends. So it was probably best performance experience I've ever had. Um,
That's and that's so cool too. Coachella and this was the same concert that was filmed and then
yeah,
made available on Netflix.
yeah, it was filmed Netflix, and then an album was made, and then I got the
Oh,
Grammy because of the album.
awesome.
So yeah, it was all the same.
And this was also you mentioned in the article on Instagram that um, this was on a basically also a union contract that allows for residuals that
Absolutely,
you see yearly.
absolutely. So every year there's a nice little check in the mail. Uh,
Hmm.
just off the Netflix documentary.
Mm.
Um, so that, and that, like I said, at the time I was a little younger, so I didn't even understand residuals.
Right,
But
right.
later on, I remember actually the first one I was on tour with Drumline Live again, and then out
Mm.
of nowhere, I got a notification, "Hey, your direct deposit has just been hit," and I was like, "Why am I getting the?"
Yeah. Yeah.
I was not complaining, but it that's again the whole experience, the whole everything, even the all of it was a learning experience for me, and
Mhm.
um yeah, it was great, and I love the fact
It's
that I was part of a union during that time.
no, that's, such a big benefit that frankly so many musicians that even do that work don't know about for film and TV work.
Yeah.
The Film Musicians Secondary Markets Fund. We have been doing a push here locally in the office to let people know, hey, this is a real entity, and your story is just so perfectly timed too, because we've had some folks that have been able to claim those unclaimed residuals. And so thank you for helping to spread the word about this, even more so.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Um, so how about the Hawks? Okay, so what is this all about? That's insane to be told about. I mean,
So
hmm,
the Hawks came about. Um, so the Hawks have always had like a percussion section, so it's always
hmm,
been some kind of drums, which
okay,
was cool. And
yeah,
at the time, I think they were in the process of wanting to expand that department because I
hmm,
think the NBA and some of the teams had ventured into a band. So I think the Clippers may have had a band at one point in time, and then they may have stopped, or the Heat may have had a band and then stopped. And the Hawks had a band a while ago, but I think it was just kind of poorly managed, and they just kind of got like random musicians
hmm,
that weren't necessarily in sync, and so
hmm,
everyone had different ideologies of what the group looked like.
hmm,
Um, and my big thing after I came back from Coachella was that I felt that I had a duty to teach everybody else what I learned,
hmm,
and so like it was
hmm,
cool that I was performing, but I'd really like to do more of the educating.
hmm,
And at the
yeah,
time, I had just started my company, Fifth Quarter, where
hmm,
we help musicians find gigs and opportunities in the Metro Atlanta
oh,
area. So I was doing all that, and
hmm,
a friend of a friend of a friend, uh, who at the time was over the Hawks, had reached out to me and was like, "Hey, like, I know we're looking for a band. I think you're the perfect fit.
hmm,
I need you to help me find some people." Um,
hmm,
and I was like, "Okay, cool." But then COVID had happened.
hmm,
Um, and so for about 2 years, I didn't hear anything. And then randomly, he hit me up, but I think he had already had somebody over it. And so at the time, I was just a
hmm,
musician. Um, but then as time went on, I think
hmm,
some of the staff started to see some of the benefit that I was adding to the group. And
hmm,
that's kind of when they made me over the group regarding the instrumentalist. So it's myself, and then there's Zelois Brown, who's more so over the percussion.
okay,
But we work hand in hand. So
hmm,
we do the audition process.
hmm,
We coach the band, we come up with the music, come up with shows, and perform either during like halftime shows. We perform before the games, and we also work with the Skyhawks, who's the G League team for Atlanta. So we'll perform at some of their games as well.
wow, that's so cool. That's
Yeah,
what an amazing. And I just pulled up the Fifth Quarter LLC on Facebook. You've got some videos right there. I mean, that's
yeah.
so cool to see. Um, and what about the music for that? Do you work on arrangements? Do you have folks that do that for you? How do you?
Yeah, so it depends because like I said, I like to use people that's in the area
Hmm,
to try to get everyone the exposure. So
hmm,
from time to time, I may write a little bit, but I like to utilize people who I know have been writing or who
yeah.
may be new to the area, who
Mhm.
need like the experience.
Hmm.
So and we'll try to write and oh, I'm sorry, our arrangements will kind of switch. So that way there's a nice mix of everyone. So everyone could kind of get a feel for what writing is, what it sounds like, especially with our band because it is just kind of like a small brass band with
Hmm.
just brass and percussion.
Hmm.
So kind of get some of the newer arrangers a feel for what that sounds like in person. So that way they can kind of move up in whatever area they want.
Mm, fabulous. Yeah, I see. Was it 12, 12 wind, 12 brass players, and maybe about the same in percussion? Does that sound about
Yep.
right?
Yep. So I know our numbers kind of fluctuate every year.
Okay.
This year, I think we maybe have about 15 people total.
Mm,
But I know in the previous years we may have had about 38 people.
okay.
Um, but
Wow.
the number fluctuates based on a bunch of like the
Sure.
games that we'll play or
Yep.
depend on the need for the Hawks in the entertainment department.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. The
So,
season and everything else, I'm sure. Yeah.
oh yeah,
Wow. That's, oh man,
yeah,
so cool. So cool. And
yeah.
I
It's
love your, yeah, I love that first photo when I pulled it up. Just your big smiling face,
yeah,
your beautiful big
yeah,
mug, and that's so testament, like what you're saying, the testament of staying positive and uplifting and having that be an infectious working environment.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Man, well, thank you so much, Kadeem, for joining us on your lunch break. Um,
Yeah, no
you,
problem.
um, do you have any final words perhaps you'd like to leave maybe with the younger musicians that are just coming up? Maybe still like your alma mater, Kennesaw State, or some of the other schools around Georgia. Anything that you'd like to leave with them?
Yeah. So, uh, more so for the music majors. So this message for anybody, but the music majors specifically, because I do understand that the music majors definitely have a hard life. They're
Mm,
the ones taking the 18 credit hours every semester. Then you're learning piano. Then you're learning woodwind and brass and percussion.
mhm,
So I get that it's a push, but just trust the process and believe that all things will fall into play.
mm,
Regardless of the stress level that you're dealing with, it's all a benefit because life only gets more stressful. It's just that you'll be better adapt to deal with that stress and stay positive because at the end of the
mm,
day, the best people can either get the gig or not is more so based on your personality and being
mhm,
positive and networking and meeting new people and being excited to do any kind of performances and staying humble.
mm.
Um, it's the same thing I teach the kids. Like, I want you to be humble above all. You can
Mm.
work your butt off, but stay humble about it. So
Yes.
that's the key right there.
Mm. That's right. No, yeah. Staying humble and obviously just being thankful
Yeah,
for what we have.
absolutely.
It's man. Well, this has been awesome, Kadeem. Thank you so much for being with us today,
No
and
problem.
sincerely hope that we can get together in person sometime. For anyone that is watching this, and if you're curious about those residuals regarding film and TV work, just make note of the Film Musicians Secondary Markets Fund. And Kadeem, definitely thank you for helping to spread the word about that to our colleagues.
No problem. No problem.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
absolutely.